Good morning. This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Wednesday, October 28. Attorney General Dale Marshall assures government will be relentless in its fight against crime, but it won't resort to imposing any drastic measures to arrest the problem. So far this year, the country has recorded 35 murders, but in an interview with Barbados Today, Marshall dismissed the idea of using measures like a curfew in known hotspots.
Those are not things that we're contemplating. The last administration wanted to have legislation which amounted to curfew legislation. I don't think that we are at that point. So those are things, I mean, there are no solutions that are off of the table. Anything is a solution, but certainly I cannot tell you that curfews and so on are actively being considered by me as Attorney General.
Illegal guns remain a vexing problem, and the AG acknowledges recent concerns expressed by Police Commissioner Tyrone Griffith that guns are still coming through the island's ports of entry. While he does not support criticism that the government is to blame, AG Marshall says it's clear they will have to find a new approach.
The Commissioner is quite right, and it's important for us to step up and do even more. If there are any cracks, then we need to fill those cracks. But I don't think that the fact that firearms are still coming into Barbados should be seen in any way as a failure on the part of the administration or on the part of the force. Criminals are ingenious. We have to invest, we've had to invest in all kinds of capacities in order to be able to stop them from trying one form or another, okay? They've become sophisticated. As we put things in place, they're finding ways and means of trying to circumvent those things, and that fight continues.
In other news this Wednesday, tourism officials are estimating that hotel occupancy will rise by the end of the year based on forward bookings. And Tourism Minister Senator Lisa Cummings says she's heartened that several potential investors are lining up to pump money into local infrastructure projects. She made the comments during the virtual Global Business Week Public Discussion Forum on Monday evening.
We have bookings which are indicating that the demand is expected also to increase, and occupancy rates are expected to reach at least at a minimum 40% through the high season and then continue to climb into January. So in terms of the market for travel, there is that. However, but if we start to look at the actual investment climate, I cannot tell you how many meetings I have had over the last few weeks with persons who are interested in investing in new infrastructure in Barbados. We have, of course, the properties that the Prime Minister spoke about during the throne speech. So we have the Hyatt, the Royalton, and the Harlequin, and those properties which are continuing new investments, well underway, Park Planning Commission approved, and all of those things happening. We have also a number of potential investors who have expressed a range of different types of interest in new projects. So, for example, there are persons who are expressing interest in coming to Barbados to invest in ecotourism. New specialty facilities are also being looked at. We have conference facilities that are also attracting significant attention by way of investment.
An influx of imported pumpkins is giving local farmers a run for their money, and Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says the importation is unnecessary given that Barbadian farmers are able to meet demand. Paul says local suppliers have been making massive losses as foreign pumpkins flood the market, resulting in a drastic reduction in prices.
We have a situation now with the gentleman that, for instance, he has pumpkins year out. And even now, he is finding himself in a difficult situation. He cannot sell all. The pumpkin, for instance, the pumpkin prices are around, say, 50 cents a pound to around 75 cents a pound, which is extremely low. This is because of the fact that there are large quantities of pumpkins coming onto the market. And the thing is really that at least we are seeing too, farmers are arranging their production in a manner to ensure consistency in the market. So you have consistency not only in terms of the amount of pumpkins available, but also in terms of the price. In that regard, we are calling out to those persons who will be looking to import, not to import, because it is absolutely not necessary for 1 pound of pumpkin to be imported.
Paul is urging retailers to give more support to local producers.
We need to recognize, and I think that basically people within the retail sector need to recognize that, of course, they need to support our local farmers more, Even here at the BIS, for instance, we will be launching a marketing campaign as far as pumpkins are concerned, because we will be trying, of course, to promote the health properties of pumpkins in order to sort of stimulate consumer interest in the product, so that, for instance, that in itself may cause more consumers to be able to purchase them.
Outgoing ambassador of the Argentine Republic to Barbados, Gustavo Pandyani, is calling on authorities in Bridgetown to further deepen relations with South and Central American countries in several areas to help boost economic activity. In an interview with Barbados Today ahead of his departure next week, Pandyani said he believed Barbados could be the perfect bridge between the English-speaking Caribbean and Argentina and the rest of South and Central America.
You are, in general, because of your tradition, because of your past, you look more north. You look Europe, you look UK, you look the United States, you look Canada. I believe that now Central America and South America should be great partners for you, for tourism, for businesses, for investment. We need to connect a little better. Even in terms of the transportation of possibilities, we have just one flight coming from Panama. We need to have more flights coming from Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, even from Mexico. We don't have connections in terms of logistic, and that reflects sometimes that we need to work a little more on our political coordination.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, local government elections in Guyana are not on the cards anytime soon. Speaking to the media, President Irfan Ali made it clear that the Guyana Elections Commission must first get its house in order.
What we have to do is to fix what is there for us. We have to ensure that we have a system that is working, a system that we can trust, a system that is professional, a system that operates in an unbiased manner so that the people of our country can have confidence.
Further afield in the U.S., the founder of the cult-like group NXIVM has been sentenced to 120 years in prison following his conviction for sex trafficking and other crimes. More in this report from Reuters Television.
Keith Raniere, the founder of the cult-like group NXIVM, where women were kept on starvation diets, branded with his initials, and ordered to have sex with him, was sentenced on Tuesday to 120 years in prison following his conviction for sex trafficking and other crimes. The sentence was imposed by a U.S. district judge in Brooklyn after a hearing where 15 former NXIVM members, most of them women, described what they called the devastating impact Raniere had on their lives. Federal prosecutors had sought a life sentence for the 60-year-old Raniere for exploiting victims at NXIVM, a purported self-help group based near Albany, New York. Lawyers for Raniere countered that he maintained his, quote, complete innocence and was the victim of a, quote, unfair trial. They requested a sentence of no more than 15 years in prison. The first of Raniere's accusers to speak was a woman identified in court only as Camilla, who recounted a 12-year sexual relationship with Raniere starting when she was 15 and he was 45. Another former member, actress India Oxenberg, daughter of 80s TV star Catherine Oxenberg, told Raniere at the hearing, quote, "You stole 7 years of my life that I'll never get back." Prosecutors said Raniere created a secret sorority within NXIVM called DAS, where female slaves turned over nude photos and other compromising materials that could be used for blackmail if they tried to leave.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.